The challenges facing the Wet'suwet'en are significant in terms of how they engage and how they work with the federal government.
Tonight, Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs plan on signing a land and title agreement with Ottawa this week, but elected chiefs say they've had no say on the deal.
Everyone can jig. There's no wrong way to jig. So jig to health, everyone. Jig to health.
And move over American Idol and welcome to Jigging Idol, where jiggers can show off their talents online. Good evening, welcome to APTN National News. I'm Dennis Ward. Tension is mounting in the dispute between Wet'suwet'en elected and hereditary chiefs over a land and title agreement. Elected chiefs claim they have not been consulted and are calling for the resignation of Crown Indigenous Relations Minister Carolyn Bennett. Hereditary chiefs say they will sign the rights and title agreement with the federal and provincial governments on May 14th. The elected chiefs say they've only had one video call about the agreement and their concerns have been ignored. Indigenous Relations Minister Carolyn Bennett said this morning the signing will go ahead this week as scheduled. But Chief Dan George of Burns Lake Band feels the agreement is being rushed through.
What we've heard from the hereditary chiefs, they said that in our 6-hour call, we voiced a lot of concerns about why they shouldn't sign, and even that it would show good faith by them and by the provincial and federal government. They're going to sign it anyways without even having a community vote. This is not the hereditary chief's land. This is the community's land.
In Ottawa today, the federal government announced some financial support for seniors. It comes in the form of a one-time payment of up to $500. But as Todd Lamoran reports, the proposed deal with hereditary Wet'suwet'en chiefs was also on people's minds in Ottawa.
The Prime Minister was asked about the agreement reached with the hereditary Wet'suwet'en chiefs to implement title and rights, one that elected chiefs say they weren't consulted about. They want Crown Indigenous Relations Minister Carolyn Bennett to resign. But Trudeau thanked Bennett for her work and would not say if a virtual signing scheduled for May 14th will be delayed.
The challenges facing the Wet'suwet'en are significant in terms of how they engage and how they work with the federal government, and we will always be there with a partner, to listen, to work with them, and to continue moving forward on the path to reconciliation and partnership.
Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs and allies protested construction of a liquefied natural gas pipeline in British Columbia. Arrests led to rallies and nationwide blockades like this one on Tyendinaga-Mohawk territory. During Tuesday's virtual parliament, Conservative Crown Indigenous Affairs critic asked about the signing.
News coming out of the elected chiefs and the people they represent that they have not had a thorough chance to look at this proposed agreement. So will the minister delay the signing?
Minister Bennett did not answer if there would be a delay and said more work needs to be done.
In terms of the kind of engagement that has taken place in the feast houses, the kind of notification that took place even before the COVID-19, that work is underway and it will have to be Wet'suwet'en led in terms of what eventually will be their choice as to how to implement their rights and title.
Also in Ottawa, Trudeau announced that all senior citizens drawing old age security will get a one-time payment of $300.
This means that across the country, almost 7 million seniors will get help that they need. And to better support the most vulnerable seniors, we will also give an extra $200 to people who are eligible for the Guaranteed Income Supplement.
It was pointed out to Trudeau that a few $100s is not much if the pandemic stretches out for months or a year. He said that right now his government is looking at the short term and may extend or adjust programs at a later date. Todd Lamoran, APTN National News, Ottawa.
The far north of Saskatchewan is dealing with an outbreak of COVID-19, but 2/3 of the cases are in one community. Priscilla Wolf looks at why the town of the Losh has such high numbers of positive cases.
To date, Saskatchewan's far north has 197 cases of COVID-19. Over 100 of those cases are in La Loche, where they lost 2 elders to the virus. La Loche Mayor Robert St. Pierre says only essential travel in and out of the community is allowed. But when it comes to social distancing, not everyone is listening. Early in May, local leaders asked the province to close 2 liquor stores in the community for 2 weeks, and that's been done.
It became clear to the leadership that in order to mitigate the social distancing or the physical distancing in our community, we had to take that extra measure, because we found that a lot of the younger people, the younger generation, I guess, that of course are able to drink and it's legal. It's just that we found that a lot of them were still gathering together.
Dr. Veronica McKinney is Director of Northern Medical Services for Saskatchewan, and she says more testing is being done for COVID-19 in the La Loche area.
They have a plane that flies out swabs every day during this time to the lab down in Regina, which can handle up to 1,200 swabs per day.
Dr. McKinney says the increase in testing could be behind the rising numbers, but those tests will give an accurate assessment on how many cases there actually are.
They are, and they're actually doing in La Loche door-to-door testing along with it being the contact tracing to make sure that they are offering that to people.
Saskatchewan's chief medical officer says even though the far north has an outbreak, they are 25% recovered, and that's a good sign.
That they are now, by some indications, coming out at the other end in terms of recoveries happening, and we hope that that trend will continue.
La Loche's mayor believes if people practice social distancing and follow health guidelines, the community will be safe.
Hopefully we can get through this little hurdle here and get back to some normalcy as quickly as we possibly can.
Priscilla Wolf, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
Well, the border will stay closed and self-isolation for residents coming back will continue. The Northwest Territories government announced their 4-staged approach to loosening COVID-19 restrictions. Loosening of restrictions could take place as early as Friday, according to the government. Households will be allowed to have friendship circles of up to 5 guests in their home. Outdoor gatherings have increased from 10 people to 25. Some types of businesses will reopen, such as museums, libraries, community gyms, and bottle depots. And outdoor recreational activities with physical distancing in place will be allowed.
Our process for NWT identified 5 phases. Our current phase, containment, was the most aggressive level of restrictions. This is followed by 3 phases of gradual easing of restrictions as we reach different phases of the pandemic. The final phase will be the easing of all remaining measures, and this will occur when a vaccine is available or effective treatment is fully implemented.
Well, we'd like to hear what you think about the loosening of restrictions in your territory or province. Here's how to get in touch. Send your emails to news@aptn.ca. Find us online at aptnnews.ca and on youtube.com/aptnnews. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest Indigenous news. 2 men have been charged in connection with the death of a 19-year-old man in Val-D'or in northern Quebec. The body of Nathan Wapachi Hoke was found in a dumpster on Friday in the city's downtown. Police have charged Jason Gagnon from Val-D'or and Jonathan Miranda from Winnipeg First Nation with first-degree murder. The 2 men will appear in court next week in Val-D'or. Well, today is Manitoba's 150th birthday. Celebrations have, of course, been canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But we'll see how the Manitoba Maytee Federation is marking the occasion after the break. Here's a look at Wednesday's weather forecast starting on the East Coast. 6 and showers for St. John's, 8 in Halifax. 0 with snow in Nain, 3 and a rain-snow mix for Cartwright. 13 under sunny skies in Montreal, 7 and sunny in Chibougamau. 13 above under sunny skies in Toronto, Peterborough, and London. Sunny and 13 for Thunder Bay. Showers and 12 in Sioux Lookout. -2 in Churchill. 14 in Thompson. God's Lake, Norway House in the Paw. 9 with showers in Winnipeg and Gimli. 11 with rain for Brandon. 13 in Saskatoon. 1 degree warmer in North Battleford. 16 under sunny skies in Meadow Lake. 4 with snow in Stony Rapid. Welcome back. A familiar face has a new gig. Dr. Evan Adams joined the public health branch of Indigenous Services yesterday. In addition to being a physician, Adams has also acted and is best known for his role as Thomas builds the fire in the film Smoke Signals. For the next 2 years, he will be the Deputy Chief Medical Officer at the First Nations and Inuit Health Branch, where he will work with Valerie Gideon and Dr. Tom Wong, both frequent guests on APTN's Nation to Nation. Well, today is Manitoba's 150th birthday. On this day in 1870, Manitoba became Canada's 5th province and the only one to join Confederation through the actions of an Indigenous people, the Maytee. Well, the Manitoba Maytee Federation marked the day by announcing they have purchased an iconic building in Winnipeg. For more, we're joined by MMF President David Chartrand. President Chartrand, thanks for joining us. How do you reflect on Manitoba's 150th birthday?
Well, with great pride, of course, and we resonate back into the founding of this province by Lou Riel and the provincial government 150 years ago. And one of the things that we should all be proud of as Indigenous people, and definitely as Canadians, it's the first Indigenous-led government that ever negotiated a province into Confederation. So that truly is one that carries a lot of significance and carries a message that's not been told in our educational institutions, but one of great pride in our nation. And I think it's a great time for all of us to celebrate. Riel's vision is coming to reality. He's defended French rights and religious denominations in schools, etc. So it's an important time for all of us to recognize that important time in history.
It's been announced that the Manitoba Maytee Federation has purchased the iconic Bank of Montreal property on Portage in Maine in Winnipeg with the goal of turning it into a Métis Nation Heritage Centre. What do you envision there?
Well, there'll be several fronts. It's if you ever been in there, Dennis, it's actually quite large. It's quite large. The second floor is made up of bank employees that are working for the Royal Bank. Their offices are located on the second floor. The main floor, of course, has such a magnificent look of history attached to it with large pillars. There's actually a gold-plated roof, a real gold-plated roof. But you look at the dynamics of the outside. It's got a World War I veteran in the front of it, which you know personally my passion towards veterans. And so when you look at it overall, the image of this particular bank built in 1913 has a lot of symbolism to its history as a Bank of Montreal being a small little outfit in Montreal back in the establishment in 1817, and where it's become now probably I think the 5th or 3rd largest bank in North America. But it really is, and it dealt with the Northwest, let's not forget that, company and Hudson Bay during the massive fur trade dilemma that took place in this country, and where the Métis were pivotal in that trade. So the bank was actually involved in that. So it's that kind of history coming back to connect each other, Dennis.
The MMF in the province had obviously major celebrations planned this year to mark the anniversary, and of course those have been put on hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Does the MMF have any other plans in mind, a way to celebrate this milestone?
Well, the province had plans to celebrate 150, but not with Indigenous people. The province had plans to celebrate itself. As you know, today, the Premier sent out a press release, and not once has he mentioned the Métis people, Lou Riel, in any capacity as the founder and father of Manitoba. Nowhere in his video commending 150 celebration of recognizing Manitoba, his press release, nor does he mention even Indigenous people who were here before anybody else. So we have a lot of respect. I have personal respect for Treaty 1 and all of the First Nations that carry a long history in the part of Canada, and especially Western Canada. But the Premier doesn't even mention any capacity to that. So, you know, I don't know how he was planning to celebrate, truly not with us. But we're still going to go ahead with some plans, Dennis. We still have some ideas. We're actually working on a partnership with CTV right now. We've approached us, and we approached them, and actually having a 1-hour show on music that'll be displayed in all the top historical sites in Winnipeg and around Manitoba, where we can put some of our top musicians in play. And that 1-hour show, I think, is going to carry a lot of magnificent messages about 150 and the pride we all have as Maytee people, Indigenous people. You know, even though this province doesn't want to celebrate with us, we can still celebrate with all other Manitobas. We don't have to celebrate with Pallister. He doesn't want us. Hey, who cares? We can still have a damn good time without him. And as I said today, he's not ruining my 150 day today. COVID's not ruining it for us today. This is a day to be proud as Métis leaders and as Métis Nation and as Indigenous people and as all Manitobans. We have a beautiful province, and I think we need to embrace that and let nobody take it from us, and let's be proud of who we are and what we have in this beautiful country.
President Chartrand will have to leave it there, but appreciate you taking some time for us.
Thanks for calling, Dennis, and keep up the good work. In fact, you might want to move next door to us. You give me a buzz, huh?
Okay. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Talk, buddy. Thanks.
The zombie thriller Blood Quantum has been scaring up some great reviews. It's currently certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. The Mi'kmaq writer, director, and composer of the film, Jeff Barnaby, is our guest on Face to Face tonight. We speak with him about where he draws his inspiration from for the films he does.
Now the most interesting stuff going on story-wise is in comics. So I'm really drawing from everything, and then I'm filtering it all through this lens of growing up on a reserve in foster care and the people that I experienced growing up there. And that's really where my cinema comes from. That's really, you know, being influenced by everything, including my life and the people in my life, and putting them in these fantastic situations. And I think to a certain extent there's a real desire for that stuff on reserves, because you have a lot of big horror fans but no real presence.
And you can watch the entire interview with Jeff Barnaby on Face to Face tonight, right here after the news. Well, still to come, a look at the latest online craze, Jigging Idol. You won't want to miss it. Here's a look at the rest of Wednesday's weather forecast. Picking back up in northern Alberta, 19 for Grand Prairie, 1 degree cooler in Peace River. 13 with showers in Medicine Hat, 17 in Edmonton. Rain and 16 for Victoria and Vancouver, 24 in Kamloops, 7 in Fort Nelson, 19 in Prince George. 2 in Old Crow, showers and 13 for Whitehorse. +4 with snow for Fort Liard and Trout Lake, -3 in Yellowknife. -5 with snow for Sax Harbor, 8 below and snow in Paulatuck. -2 in Repulse Bay, 4 below with snow for Cambridge Bay. -1 in Resolute, 0 in Arctic Bay. Welcome back. The Beothuk are known as an ancient people who lived on the island of Newfoundland until what many regard as their extinction in 1829. But a researcher at Memorial University in St. John's has matched DNA from 2 of the last known living Beothuk to a living person, a finding that is no surprise to the Mi'kmaq, whose oral history includes stories of close relations between the groups. Genetic testing on the island will continue with the participation of local Mi'kmaq communities. Health officials will soon have a new high-tech tool in the fight against COVID-19. Researchers have developed new testing measures, and thanks to artificial intelligence, doctors can now get results faster and integrate medical data to improve patient care. Scans imported into the software will help them identify the severity and if there are complications from COVID-19. Researchers also say this new way of testing can be deployed to remote communities, so patients won't have to travel to hospitals to be tested.
So CT is an extremely helpful tool at examining the whole body in a matter of seconds. And this powerful AI machine learning tool can do this in a matter of seconds, automated, and can be a very useful adjunct tool to the PCR test that exists presently.
In an effort to fight the boredom during isolation, one Ojibwe dancer decided to create a brand new competition show online. It's called Jigging Idol, and it's just as fun as it sounds. Brittany Hobson caught up with the organizer and one of the winners to bring us this.
We've all heard of American Idol, but a new online competition is putting a twirl and a spin on the reality show to bring us Jigging Idol. Champion jigger Ryan Richard came up with the idea after seeing similar social media talent shows.
Jigging brings out so much fun, and just to add a little competition to that adds even more excitement.
Contestants competed for a cash prize in various categories, including Best Traditional, Best Elder, or Best Jolly Jumper Jigger for the Tiny Tots. Richard created the last category because that's how he got his start. Over the course of a week, dozens of dancers from BC to Ontario submitted videos. Richard, who is from Sandy Bay Ojibwe First Nation in Manitoba, was surprised.
I thought it was going to be a little tiny local thing, but then it just blew up after our first jigger, who happens to be our Jolly Jumper champion.
Unlike other online competitions where people win based on the number of likes or shares, Jigging Idol relied on votes from a judging panel. The judges awarded Felicia Morisseau with top honors. Morisseau has competed in a handful of these competitions during the pandemic.
This is just a nice way to continue showcasing your talent and just to keep on with the physical part of it as well.
Morisseau is a professional dancer with the groups Asham Stompers and United Thunder. She's been dancing for more than 3 decades.
It just means a lot to carry on the traditions of the Red River Jig. It helps to influence the young ones, especially either to get started or to continue on with the participation.
The pandemic has cancelled all large group events in Manitoba, meaning Morisseau and her dance groups won't be performing anytime soon. She says online competitions are keeping dancers connected. Richard hopes to host other variations of the contest in the future.
Everyone can jig. There's no wrong way to jig. So jig to help everyone. Jig to help.
Brittany Hobson, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Very cute. Jig to health is some good advice, and that was some fancy footwork by Felicia. And that's your APTN National News for this Tuesday. For much more, visit our website, aptnnews.ca. Stick around. Face to Face is next. I'm Dennis Ward. We leave you tonight with the snowbirds fly over Winnipeg this morning on Manitoba's 150th birthday. Enjoy and have a great night.